Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so it's early in the morning. It's probably about 6:30 a.m. Waking up feeling good. Ordered some groceries, did the whole Amazon thing. No problems. Not going to do any complaining, not this time. Hopefully they won't be any reason to. Um, Last couple days, I can say was more or less for me uh, days of just kind of being in a daze. That's the best way I know to describe how I felt over the last 5 days. Ever since I got lost on the train that day, ever since then, my energy has been low. Not necessarily depressed. I can't say I've felt that. That's not. It's not like I'm feeling my problems heavily. If anything, I'm just tired, like exhausted, and that's what's bothering me. I'm used to being somebody who has a lot of energy, but I think this particular thing, whatever it is that I'm perceiving it to be, how I'm going through this with the court and everything, going outside, walking, all that, I think it just wore me down. Eating bad for those couple days, even it ain't really that bad since my body is used to eating so strict. Having those meals, eating out, getting, chicken, tostadas and stuff from El Pollo Loco, I think it contributed to that as well a little bit. Since I eat so strict all the time for an extended period of time. I don't know why those words ain't coming out. But yeah, it's just one of those situations where I just didn't feel like I had a whole lot of energy for nothing, and I need to obviously meet the moment. But doing a lot of sleeping, especially on Saturday, my body felt like I was old man, very old man, dizzy, kind of dizzy in the daytime on Saturday, just a lot of sleeping. And then Sunday was like dragging around, trying to get myself to get up and do more. I drafted a lot of basketball teams, fantasy basketball teams, since the draft had happened. So I took Sunday with all that energy I didn't have, and spent my time getting all the teams that I get. As you guys know, I do that once a year for football and basketball. So that was a day I spent doing that. I felt at peace. I prayed a lot during that day. The Lord was just basically telling me, just replenish. You need to replenish. So I did that. I kept my prayer up. It wasn't like I was walking away from him during this process, but I was telling him, like, for what it is that I have to do, this is absolutely unacceptable. And the only thing I can come up with is you're on God's timing, and the only way you're going to get things done is if you have a balance between replenishment and work in regards to what needs to happen. And as far as me worrying about them putting the notice on the door, I'm very concerned about that. Uh, and there's more I can do, and I just couldn't bring myself to do what needed to be done these last couple of days. I did talk to some lenders. Of course, I think I talked to you guys about, what was it, Monday, when I went down to the downtown place that I had applied to, or was attempting to apply to. Told them, after all, that it would probably be best if I kept my $30. And the problem was I had already paid the $30 to buy the money order, and the money order receipt was misplaced. So the $30 was lost anyway. For those of you guys who were wondering how that played out, that money order receipt is gone. The money order itself I threw away. Didn't think nothing of it. I think I threw it away with the application itself. Just not even thinking that I spent $30 cash to buy that money order. It did not register. I was walking out of there not even thinking about that. But that is what happened. So I can't find a receipt on my money order. Threw away the money order itself, and now that $30 is lost any damn way. I would have did better just giving it to them as a tip. Seriously, it was absolutely one of the most mindless and brain dead things that I've done in a long time. But it just speaks to how overwhelmed I've been and how much I got on my mind while dealing with the stress, which is something I don't do. I avoid stress, which is how I find myself in a situation. So in dealing with stress, as I told you guys, I often find myself just not focused. The focus of what I'm dealing with just is too many different things I'm thinking about, to where some of the stuff that's most important I might just forget. And so that's really what I've been feeling these last couple of days. It's just kind of like exhausted and not so focused, not so on point. And I just don't think that's going to get what I need done. That's going to make me unhappy in the end. So in the process of that, I did a lot of art, did a couple playlists in the weekend as well. as I think I might have mentioned, I tried to get my body back together, particularly on Sunday, Monday, and yesterday, just pushing up the ramping up of the workouts since I had been slacking since this all happened. Even though I was working out, to be honest with you, but not like I do, not like it would make it so that my body feels like itself. So now, these last couple of days, I've just been trying to pick up the pieces and get that going. I think I've probably done like 4 or 5 squats regiments in the last 3 days. Heavies and the long ones that take 2 hours. I've done it all. Did more lifting on my chest. Did some other things that I hadn't done in a while, trying to incorporate old things back into my new routine. And I feel better physically, but mentally still feel heavy here, around here, dragging as if I got a hangover or something. It's constant. So that's just how I'm feeling. That's how I feel physically. Spiritually and mentally, like I tell you guys, I've been close to God the whole time. And I don't think it feels the same way to get close to God when you stay close to God. You know what I mean? It's like I'm getting close to God now. I feel him closer. But when you stay in prayer because of the circumstances, you always feel like you're close. And I think that's kind of what this has been. Like for me, it's a bit strange because I'm feeling like, God, are you still there? It's like, yeah, I never left. So that's kind of how the vibe has been for me lately. It's almost like it feels strange to have not turned away for a second. They replenished my card. I believe that's what they did. Either that or the 7 days lasted longer than 7 days. But my Metro card seems to have been replenished by those folks who were going to give free rides to folks. I think Metro has I applied for Metro's free low-income bus pass program, and I think they loaded up one of those cards because the last time I went, they didn't require me to pay, but it wasn't the card I asked them to upgrade. It was the card that I had upgraded only a day on, the one they just gave me. So I don't know how the hell that happened, and I don't think that happened, but I know I bought 1 day for that day, and it got me through 7 days later. So I don't know. Like I said, I've been out of it, so I might have bought 7 days and thought I bought 1, but I don't think that happened because it's a very vast difference in price. But nevertheless, that is what happened. Didn't have any problem getting on the train back in front. Very appreciative of that either way. And yeah, man, looking up places. Of course, I never stop actually looking up places. Craigslist had a couple places, but they all are the same. In fact, one lady was the same person, asking me to do the same thing, asking me to spend $1 on her company. You know, we talked about that kind of thing where they want to run your credit and they got deals with companies. Same lady, different building, same link that didn't work initially when she sent it. I'm just like, yo, what is up with these scammers, bro? Do you even have a building? What are we even talking about? So that's also been kind of the frustration and discouragement of my circumstance. It's just like when I'm looking up stuff, I'm coming up with scammers. I'm looking up stuff, I'm coming up with the same people, literally, who I've already told thank you, but no thank you. It's just like, damn, that's all you're finding when you're looking for apartments. So that's also been part of the problem where I've been a bit stagnant in what I'm doing. I can't find nothing at all. And then I think also what has kept me stagnant is just being comfortable this way for so long, and knowing, it was 2 things I was thinking about when I was meditating last night. One is I underestimated how much I appreciate knowing what every day is going to be for me, because every day I'm in this house, I know where I'm going to sleep, I know how I'm going to eat, I got a routine, and it keeps me comfortable. And that comfort takes precedent over a lot of things for whatever reason in my head. But the most, I think, groundbreaking thing that I came to understand is it's not necessarily that I'm afraid to move. It's the certainty of not knowing what happens every day that keeps me wanting to hold on to what is otherwise going away, which is this routine. And rather than initiating the process of trying to continue to try to make it work only to find it nothing coming up, I'm more so saying, okay, let me salvage the last few days that I have to continue the routine that I've ultimately enjoyed, continue the certainty of the life that I've been living, because it's the only way I really want to live at this point. Not to say that there ain't nothing better, but when you're used to something and you appreciate it, obviously it's not so kind to watch it go away, especially when it's in the easy living for which I created for this to be. And the other aspect of this that I think I came to understand is that I'm not quite ready to do what needs to be done to keep the next apartment going, no different than I want to stop doing what I've been doing here. And I think I've been prolonging that. Got to go back to work. Rather not. So again, copy and paste what was just said. Last 5 days, just kind of coddling my head like I always do in the worst of times, even though I'm still comfortable going outside. I've been going outside most of these days. I only stayed in the house for maybe 2 of those 5 days, which is, I guess, not good considering I've been out every day. But it speaks to me just not really having it at all. I haven't had it at all, even for the circumstances at hand, even for the sake of what is necessary. It's just one of them situations where I was praying to God. He wasn't encouraging me to move too much, and I was replenishing my energy, so to speak, doing positive things. But at the end of the day, ain't nothing really coming up in regards to this apartment thing, and it needs to, because they can knock on the door right now, literally right now. And then I have 5 days to appeal, of course, as we talked about, or find a place, or we'll be looking at getting kicked up out of here and taking pictures of everything in here to make sure that I can get it all back in small claims court. So that's what my stagnation over the last 5 days would actually get me. But to be honest with you, I couldn't do anything different. No different than these last 2 years. I couldn't do anything different. But I'm willing to, you know what I mean? I'm ready to get up today and do something different. I'm willing to get up today and try to pick up the pieces where I left off before all of that happened, where I just kind of lost all my energy and started feeling really sick on Sunday. And I want to reiterate, I don't think I ever let myself fall into any like temporary depression or anything. I don't think I was in bad spirits. I was a little frustrated that I couldn't bring myself to move like I had been, but it's almost like a heaviness that weighed on my head physically that kind of just kept me feeling like I had almost like a headache or a cloudy kind of headache thing. So yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. So yeah, I just wanted to come up here and tell people how I'm feeling, let them know that I'm not as proud of my production over the last couple of days, let them know that if things go completely left, once again, it's my fault for not doing more. But I think that's just a byproduct of all the stress that I've been going through and just how fatigued I am over time of that stress. But you got to find your second wind and so on and so forth. Also, I think I've allowed myself to become a little too caught up in my example of trying to be the person that overcomes everything for my voice. For example, like, I know people are watching, so I better get it right. I know people are watching, so they better get it right. Just like anything else that you allow too much of that will provide you a pressure that is not going to be beneficial to you or that image or that example. Because what you end up doing is trying so hard to meet that mark that you end up having an inverted result sometimes, or you end up doing too much to where you just find yourself not caring about that voice after a while. And that's why we always say replenishment and work. What we're trying to do is find balance in what we're doing. I don't think I've been putting in enough work, but I've definitely done enough to try to help replenish myself. However, you know, there's still things to consider, and that's one of them. And also, last but not least, of course, we talk about smoking weed, and how it can have positive effects on you if you smoke the right thing, negative effects on you if you smoke the wrong thing. And I don't think I got the right thing. That's the truth. I think I smoked the wrong. I bought the right name of the weed, but whatever's in that package is a bit more slugger, and I don't do slugger at all. That's one of the reasons why I smoke wedding cake so much, because it kind of propped me up a little too much at times. But you know, this has been a different weed, Oreos, and sometimes it runs jittery, and I'm finding other times it runs lazy. And I do not do lazy weed, so I do believe that might have something to do with it. But then again, I don't like using that as an excuse, because I get out the house feeling like this anyway. If I feel good enough to get out the house with that high, I don't have any problem doing that. So I don't like to use that as an excuse. But it probably did contribute to the overall fatigue perception that my brain was ultimately giving me. I'm pretty sure it contributed quite a bit. So, you know, I always tell people, and my boy T told me, and I'm going to tell y'all the same thing, it's probably best to smoke when you don't have anything to do. Smoke when you're at night, when all your things are done. Smoke when your head is not needed for everything that is urgent in your life. And sometimes when you're trying to deal with stress, you feel compelled to provide yourself that sooner, just to deal with the stress itself. And I think I found myself being that in this process, which I don't blame myself for, nor anyone else for trying to medicate through circumstances. But you just got to make sure what you're giving yourself is what's best for you during what it is you're trying to do, or don't do nothing at all. And I just didn't not. I just didn't not. And I don't think that going forward, that's the right play for me. I got to discipline myself in that way. Not only as it pertains to meeting the urgency of my circumstance, but also as it pertains to just living the way I want to, breathing, lungs and stuff like that. Lung health is important. So I want to grow in that area, and what you indulge in life over time could be the reason you're done. It could be your undoing. Lung cancer, all different types of stuff. And I'm cognizant of that. My breathing hasn't been the same as of late, and I have been smoking for a very long time. So at some point in time, that part is starting to play. It's not like I have iron lungs, and I'm getting older. So it's like, at some point in time, the leisure stuff that you do, you got to recognize some point in your life. At some point in time during the journey of your entire life, you got to realize, we're reaching a plateau point as it pertains to what I like to do and what harm it can actually do to this particular body at this particular time. Now, when I was 20 smoking like that, I had this many years before it got to this point. But now we're at 39 and you've been smoking this long. Now you got to know when you're starting to enter into a territory where more damage is going to be done than what it is that you can take on. And that's where people go left. That's where people go absolutely left, especially some older people who gain money. Older people who get money, who like to party in their 20s. If you think you still got a 20-year-old body and you can still party like that, you're going to find out you're going to be in the ER. It just is what it is. I've seen it too many times. I've seen it too many times in too many different ways. And it's just at this point, I'm cognizant of it to where I'm at that age. Like, I used to do this in 22. And most of the time, I still feel like I'm 22. And the reason why I do is because I stopped doing those things. Straight up. It's because I stopped doing those things. And the things that I carry forward contribute to why I don't feel as good as I need to feel as I age going forward. So that's part of the discipline. It ain't just about coping. It's about straightening out your life so that you don't have those stresses, so you don't need to turn to those things to cope with those stresses. And that's what I'm trying to work on. It's like, I'm not going to kill myself for dealing with stress this way. I just need to do a better job of eliminating the stress that I can eliminate. And so that's the maturity. But at the end of the day, it's not just maturity that needs to be applied. It's know-how. It's the application of understanding and the processing of doing things that you know how to do. And when it comes to what it is I'm going through, don't have a whole lot of experience, don't know what the hell I'm doing. Don't have a lot of help, not used to going after help for circumstances such as these. So it's just all foreign, and I need to do a better job of handling what feels like is overwhelming for me. That's what it is. I gotta meet the moment. I was speaking to my friend Kay yesterday. She hit me with some encouragement, and I was trying to explain to her the truth about how I had not necessarily gotten a whole lot done these last couple of days, because that's how I live. I don't front about nothing. If I'm productive, I'm gonna tell my friends I'm productive. If I'm not productive, I'm gonna explain to them why I'm disappointed in myself or not. And that's kind of how it was for me in that conversation. And it's one of those things where I had to try to explain that, like, you know what I mean? I don't think she really understood. Initially, when I said I wasn't as productive, she's like, why? How can it not be? How are you not productive under these circumstances? But I think that's the point. It's like, all my life, I've been trying to explain to people why I haven't been able to meet the urgency of moments, why I would allow certain things to get as bad as they are. And I think that's why I've discovered that it's not something I can just do alone. I got to get the mental health help that'll help me understand why I do these things, why I choose comfort over true safety, I guess, in this situation. Safety is in having your own apartment and the foundation of knowing you're going to be able to sleep your head at night comfortably. I take comfort against the things that otherwise prepare for that. Work, consistency in doing certain things that would allow me to be in people's lives so that certain suggestions come my way. Just various things that are normal in nature that I've grown away from in this life. Things that people do, 90% of people do comfortably, that I just grew into a human being that went in a different direction in regards to my social understandings and what I like to do in regards to others, how much my social interactions are needed in this life, how often I need to see and touch people. I just don't have normal parameters in that way at all, living this way for this long. So it's like, to work my way back into that is foreign. It's almost like walking into a situation that's opposite of that for you. If you're used to being around people all your life and then you start to go into deep isolation, do you know how uncomfortable you're going to be? That's exactly how it feels for someone who's been in deep isolation, who has to reincorporate themselves back into a cruel world. And that's how I perceive it. It's very cruel. And it ain't a whole lot out there that's desirable to me as I continue to canvas the earth the way that I do. As I look around, see what's going on, I'm just like, man, I'm happier in my little room doing my little art and doing my channel and enjoying life. And so that's also part of it. when you step back outside, you don't like what you see. That can also contribute to why I've been handling the last 5 days the way I have. I just don't like what I see out there. And, you know what I mean? The energy to fix myself and all of that just seems to be so distant at the moment. Stress and the urgency to meet is present, but the know-how and the energy is somewhere with God, and I'm asking him to bring it to me so I can meet the moment. And it just seems like I'm not really getting much of anything. He's just leaving me to my own devices for the last 5 days. Maybe it's because he's been upset about how I handled a certain situation or two. Maybe it's old karma from a long time ago. I don't know, but it just feels like even though he's been present, it's not been a whole lot of suggestions, and I don't think I've been moving because of it. Figuratively and literally, obviously. So, they hit me up. I think I said that already in a therapy session. They, being the apartment company, sent me a text on Monday asking me if I had moved out yet. It was one of those texts that they send tap, stop, to stop sending. So I don't know if they even check that text. I don't even know how that works. I don't know if it's a new law that makes it so that when you're a company like that, you have to leave people options to not be texted again. I don't know how that works. But they sent me something no different than the weed people. So it's like, yo, text stop. I didn't text stop. I just told them, nah, not yet. I have intentions of complying, and I plan to move out as soon as something pops up, hopefully this week. So that's all they need. That's all I can really give them. I can't tell them I've moved out. I can't tell them that I got a place and I'm gonna be out today. We just got to tell the truth, just like I did with the people that I'm trying to get an apartment from. I'm not gonna be lying to anybody. Because I'm not ashamed of my situation, and I don't want to hide about what it is I'm dealing with, and I want to truly fix it at the root. And I can't do that if I'm in denial about it in regards to others, and I can't do that if I'm asking people to think that I'm okay when things are not. Now, if they can't lend to me because I'm not okay, that is fine. But what I can't do is walk into a place pretending like I'm okay again, and then proceed to have myself be in a situation where I don't fix the problem because of that. I can't deny myself and none of that. I need to get the situation straightened out in the presence of those I'm working with and in my own mirror as well. Circumstances be damned, pretty much. That's how it has to be. Because I'm not going to attach myself to a lie that's just going to be figured out later on, only for me to find myself even more stressed out when I think this is finally behind me. And this has been a prolonged hell that obviously I'm still going through. So I'm not looking to walk into another one. And that's all I was trying to explain to my friend Kay as well when she was asking me why didn't I just tell them what I needed to tell them in order to get myself through the door. It's because when I get through the door, I want to be able to stay there. And I want to be myself when I get there. It's supposed to be my home. And with the mind that I have, I do not want to be stressed out at home. And that's what I've been going through for the last 6 months. So more or less since they sent me the first notice that they were going to send me to court, I've been uncomfortable in my own home. So the last thing I want to do, trying to find a new one, is lying to people. So I'm further living that problem out. I'd rather take my chances with my truth than get through the door for safety that's only going to be snatched away once again for reasons that have to do with the same damn thing. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And even if it makes sense to do in a cruel world, so to speak, I'm not going to adhere to the lies that get me through the doors that the Lord doesn't want me through any damn way. I'm not going to do it. If I'm going to fail in this life, it's because I did things incorrectly, not because I did things with the wrong intentions. Ruining my energy and the circumstance itself, that's two things going wrong. I can't do it. Even if it makes sense to do so, even if it helps more than me, it just doesn't help more than me in the long run. When you lie, taking away people's choices and stuff like that, it's just like, yo, when you suggest to me that you think lying is a good idea, all I'm going to think is that you think lying is a good idea. You know what I'm saying? And I know that we live in a world where lying can keep you alive in certain situations. It got whole neighborhoods of people that lie. And in those people, I do not speak about their circumstances because I can't relate to that. And if I try to survive through that, I probably have to adapt to that. So I don't relate to them. They don't relate to me. And I don't think my wisdom can keep them alive. I really don't. So I just tell them I'm praying for you. But as far as people who are like me, who are civilians, who don't have to lie to get things done, it don't make no sense for us to be walking around like we live in the streets. You know, like we get money in the streets. You understand? There ain't no reason for us to be doing things like politicians. There's no reason for me to lie, other than me pretending like I'm a part of something that I'm not. And for the sake of those who don't have a choice, ain't no sense in me walking around like I'm fronting for the benefit of myself. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? If I gotta lie, it's gonna be lying to live or die. It's not gonna be lying just to get someone to work with me when I'm not even ashamed of what it is that I need to be worked with. Like, nah. Now, if I was ashamed and my ego was telling me, nah, you gotta tell everybody you're fine, that's different. But I got a whole almost 400 episodes of therapy sessions expressing my concerns about my very own self. I live, to be honest, about me. So I'm not gonna get into business with people to lie. It's not my brand. It's not who I am. It's not what I want. And that matters. So that is it. And it happens to be what the Lord wants to, so that works for me. And that's it, man. That's it. Maybe it leaves me without certain things. Maybe I got to live with that. Maybe I don't like that over time. Maybe I don't think I got the wisdom to change anyway, because being honest works for me. It really does. It works when I go to sleep at night. I sleep better. And I don't know how it is when you live your life just trying to get over on every damn thing. But when you lay your head down knowing that you ain't earned nothing, demons can attack you in all different types of ways. All different types of ways. Inner demons, outer demons, you can't leave out because you are that demon when you've done those things. And that's what I ultimately don't want. The demons in my head to be a representation of the person I am. Absolutely not. If they're going to be telling me a bunch of naysaying stuff, I want to have a different consciousness saying praise God. If that consciousness is doing the same stuff that those energies want me to do, where's that voice coming from? It is not. And given the fact that somebody like myself has to deal with this head 24/7 just to survive, it ain't just me more. No, I gotta constantly deal with those voices, constantly try to make sure I'm doing what I need to do on this side. It ain't no separation of such. It ain't no, okay, well, I can just lie and it'll work out, or I can just compromise what the Lord want me to do and I think it'll be fine. No, not for the person I am. It won't work. It won't work, and that's what I want people to understand. It will not work that I'm telling lies about my own damn self in situations like this. No. Not only will it not work for my mental health, but like I said, they'll find out on the back end. As it pertains to specifics of the situation, all you got to do is see what the debt number is and then find out what's attached to that debt, and you'll see what it is that I'm lying about. If I know you're 2 steps away from the truth, and it's in your best interest to take those steps, well, I'm going to tell you a lie at the first step. All I'm signing up for is to be called a liar. If I want to be called a liar, I'll just say, yo, I'm a liar. And call it, like, leave it at that. Why am I going to make it easy on you to discover I'm a liar if I'm going to go through the trouble of telling a lie? You see what I'm saying? I don't think a lot of people even think like that because their demons are going to back them into that thing. It's not that you're not cognizant of that. It's that you're very cognizant of it and you're walking into it subconsciously. It's those demons that are in your head. It's those naysayers, those self-destructive energies that are in your head, those bad cultures that tell you to do the opposite thing that's going to get you the opposite result. It's that takes too much precedence over the desire for the right consequences long-term and the right results upon yourself and your name. It's that cutting corners, seeing other people cutting corners and getting away with it that makes you think you can get away with it until you don't, until you're the reason everything goes left because you decided to copy and paste what they did, and I just know better. I know that working things out the right way works the exact same way, and so if I apply things the right way, I can influence people that way and get the results that I'm looking for, and even gain some respect from some people who may not forget me for being an honest person. Anybody can remember anybody who told a lie. Everybody's running around telling lies all day. When somebody comes to you, look you in the face, say, yo, I got something not so proud to share about my damn self, but I'm doing it for the betterment of your business and my business with you, you ain't gonna forget me because I'm one of the few. Next time you see me in any other situation, you're gonna know that face, you're gonna know that name, you're gonna listen to what he has to say. Why? Because you know I ain't gonna lie. Even if it benefit me, you know that whatever's coming out of his mouth should probably be listened to because he believes it. I like that. I like that a lot. And so it is what it is. It's how I like to live, man. And if it leaves me with the short end of the stick, I don't see how. Not if you do it enough times, you do it the right way. I don't see how. When I see what lying do to people, when I see what happens to the consequences of lying, I don't see how. I think I live in a world where people are taught to not look for that. They're taught to look for the wrong thing. So it's like you're not going to tell nobody to do the right thing because it's not going to get them the quick results that they ultimately need in this fleeting life. And it's like, I get it. Some people are going to die tomorrow, so you better get what you want today. I get it. But I don't live for me in that way. I live for a higher power who's powering me to overcome me every day. And so if I'm living my life to satisfy me, believe me, the things that I want to do ain't gonna get me nowhere, as you can clearly see. And that's the point. It's a blessing and a curse, because I don't allow myself to sit in a space and say, I'm fine. If I do that, I just lay down. You know what I'm saying? The Brandon that I want to be ain't gonna do nothing that allow me to survive another 10 years if I do everything that this brain wants to do. No, gotta check it. Gotta check it every 5 minutes. You good? You sure you good? What are you thinking? Is that right? No, probably not. All right, let's move on. And sometimes it just don't work. Sometimes that intention is just dead inside and you just don't have it when you're me. Whatever this condition is, that's byproduct of it. The pressures of the moment just make you shut down. Just like I told y'all my mom did that day when she had enough and decided to conk out like she wasn't alive for a good minute and a half or whatever. That's exactly how my brain does it, but not in that way. It's just more so just can't necessarily bring myself to meet the urgency of the moment. Be sitting there waiting for bad things to happen, praying they don't. That kind of thing. It's a stagnation that just doesn't provide any progression whatsoever, which leaves me without. And it's something that I'd love to get helped for. I'd love to stop doing it. I'd love to know why I do that. I'd love to know that there's someone else who does that so I can help them through it or get help by them or whatever, however they go. Because I've never seen anybody like this. And that's why I started therapy sessions in the first place, is everybody who follows me regularly, I think, pretty much knows as well. There's a couple things that came to mind. First of all, I want to send good energy to the Material Girl, Madonna. I don't know if I told you guys once that I don't know, I can say I met her. I was an infant. I was a baby, but my mom met her and she carried me in the grocery store for a minute. We didn't take any pictures. Nobody had any Polaroids back in the early 80s. So, I'm old as hell. But that happened. And, you know what I mean? I have a good energy about myself from Madonna because of that whole experience and how happy it made my mother. So, yeah, she was found unresponsive. She's alive, they say. With stars like this, you honestly don't really know of their status. They ain't going to tell you the truth about a huge mega star like that. But she was found unresponsive, had some type of bacterial infection or something, and just prayers out to her. But the reason why I brought her up is because I think she might be a decent example of something that we were talking about 10 minutes ago, where you're older now, you used to party a lot, and now in your older age, you rekindle the fire for a quick minute, but you start doing the stuff you used to do when you was in your 20s and 30s. I can't say I'm certain that's what Madonna did, but it looked like that's what she doing. It looked like that's exactly what she did. Try to get back out there like she had been getting back out there these last 4 decades. And then your body just ain't gonna do it. Your body ain't gonna take the party. And that's what I think is, I don't know, but that's the vibes. That is the exact vibes. So I'm sending prayers out to Madonna and her family. Also, condolences to, it's 3 things I want to talk about in this therapy session. I'm just gonna get to them real quick. The individuals who lost their life in the submarine, condolences to their families. That situation was cruel, the way they told us about it, the way they let us think those people were down there waiting for their doom. That wasn't how that went. They were down there for about 90 seconds before the implosion took place. I'd like to think that happened so fast they didn't even suffer. And that's what I was praying for. Like, yo, the way that they're telling us this is, may they not be suffering the way they want us to suffer, agonizing over their fate slowly. May they not. And so I'm comforted by the fact that prayer was answered, that grace was provided, and that they left quickly. And I say that with respect. I think that's a better way. I hope that's how that went. And not the whole wait 48 hours with 4 days for the air to run out, like they were trying to rock us into being anxious over. All right, so that's the second thing I wanted to acknowledge. And the third thing I wanted to acknowledge was the self-defense case between the 14-year-old boy, his mother, and that individual who lost his life in a restaurant. I wanted to address that because I got baited into the people behind the curtains version of the story, trusting the news to give me the information and running with it just like a lot of people do. I know better. We talk about this on this channel all the time. I know better, but I was raised in this culture, so they get me sometimes. They be catching me off guard with the bull crap, and they got me with this story. That was a self-defense story. The mother never asked that man, her son, to shoot that man like that. It was never no time for that. You could hear the first shot before he even stopped swinging his second punch. So it wasn't no hurry up, let me text my son, get him in here, shoot him, chase him around. Wasn't none of that. You could hear the shot before he's finished swinging his second punch. As soon as the old man who was behind the situation walked out the door, the gun was fired. That was a self-defense case. I'm glad they're suing everybody to sue the media too. Everybody who painted her son out to be some type of sicko murderer and her out to be some type of, raging monster. They need to be giving their people paper. They need to be paying, because at the end of the day, they affected how we viewed the story. They affected how I talked about it on my channel. You know what I mean? How I approached their situation. That ain't what happened. I was taking the copy and paste CNN version of the story, and I was applying the wisdom that they wanted me to provide to that story when that wasn't what happened. I'm sick of my head being toyed with. I'm sick of our people's image being toyed with. I'm sick of them applying evil first thoughts to circumstances that ain't really how the story goes, and then they reveal to us later they ain't how it goes, and nobody ever holds them accountable. I want to see them people sued for how they covered this story. Not just the people who arrested the mother and the son. That ain't as egregious as the media outlets that told us the story. Just like with the submarine, it's just a bunch of mind game clout chasing from the media. You know what I mean? The media and the news themselves, they are out of control. That's what I'm here to say. They are out of control. They are toying with people's minds in ways that turn it up a notch from where it's been over the last 170 years. And right now they're looking for no different than trying to compete with the YouTubers like us. They're trying to clout chase because they have to compete literally with our eyes. Since we're watching so much of everything else, they gotta lie even more to keep our attention. They gotta play mind games, psychological anxiety games with our minds to keep our attention. They gotta lie about stories, just flat out lie to keep our attention. It ain't even about no political agenda. Nah, they just clout chasing. And so that's what I have to say about news as a whole right now. Basically, American news as a whole. CNN has gotten even worse. Fox, I never even clicked to, so I wouldn't know. It's one of those type of situations where it's just like, yo, American news media, your credibility is continuing to decrease by the second. Even those of us who used to listen to you, these last few stories made me not even want to turn you on anymore. Between the submarine and the black mom, I don't trust a damn thing out of any of y'all. I just want to make that clear. You could tell me the sky's blue and I'm going to check it out first. I kid you not. That's where I'm at with news media right now. Just disgusted with them. And for what it's worth, I apologize to that family for how I covered that story. I don't think I said anything egregious, but I was covering it based on what it is they were saying, and it just wasn't true. That ain't what it was. So that's what I want to be said. Hopefully, good energy is sent also to the man's children who passed away. I think the whole thing, and I'll tell black people this. I'm going to tell everybody who's watching me this. While you're celebrating that 14-year-old boy killing that man, you best believe the Klan is too. They're all celebrating. So you keep that in mind. You think the story and the way that it was released didn't have you celebrating a black man's murder in mind? Or self-defense case, rather, he died. You don't think they had that in the equation? That they wanted Joe Black behind celebrating his death just like they are? That's the conundrum of the story, friends. You're going to celebrate his death just like the Klan. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I'm not thrilled with all of this. It's like, yo, I'm watching black people cheer on this man's death, and you know who I know is cheering on his death? Everybody who hates us. They're cheering it too. They love the fact that a black boy was traumatized enough to have to kill a black man while that black man was swinging at a black woman. They can't wait to tell you a story like that. Just to see your black behind scramble around at all the lies and the truths that there are to react to. That's what they do. And then they look at them. They don't love themselves. What does Black Lives Matter? When they see Black Lives shot, they celebrate. All that type of stuff is exactly what it's for. That's what it's for. That's why they lie the way they do. That's why they mold the way they do. That's why they made the little kid look like a bad person, made the mom look like a bad person. Obviously, dude who's socking the mom look like a bad person. All the black people in the story initially looked like horrible humans. All of them. Everybody involved. And that's what they want. So I just want to let people understand, man, this is what I see. This is what is applied to my image. You know what I mean? It's not just us running around with race car, race car, race car. Do you not see all of this? Do you like, you don't see that? I'm just saying, man. It's been what it's been for 400 years. Just do a little homework, you'll find out that none of this is new. The way they mess with people's image, the way they, all different types of stuff that they're doing. It's just turned up. This is not the first time it's been turned on. So that's what I want to tell people, man. As an old head looking around at the world, about to be 40 next year, going to be 39 in like 2 months. No, I'm telling you, man, this world, wisdom is eluding this world. It's temporary happiness, temporary satisfaction, no different than what I'm engaging in this house for the last 5 days. That's what we all engage in some different way. Temporary satisfaction, putting things off, allowing people to mess with our minds, mess with our images, mess with our everything while we chase whatever it is we're chasing, reach our little goals, be happy. They just take money from everything that we point ourselves toward. They just take profit and edge their bets on either side of whatever it is we feel. If we love something, they can make money off of it either way. If we hate something, they can make money off of it either way. It just becomes a situation where you're toyed with. You know what I mean? Just like we talk about how in the NBA, they'll talk about a guy's value just to raise another guy's value or to fluctuate another guy's value. That type of stuff is copy and paste all over the world in different ways. And the only place you're really safe from all of that is nestled in the strength of your own ambition as you continue to mow down everything in front of you to get what you want, or you can do like me and get the hell away from it and prolong that process as long as possible. And hopefully the Lord will do something to either change the world or remove you from it, so that you don't have to turn into a monster going after what you want, gatekeeping everybody, knocking people off, setting people up, whatever y'all doing out there to try to make it so that you're on top of what exactly I do not know, but on top. It just seems weird to me. It seems weird to me that people would throw away their energy. They'll be comfortable looking in the mirror as they're human beings that aren't doing any good for anybody, thinking that they deserve to be here. How do you live knowing that the Lord is unhappy with you, knowing that he can rip you away from this thing at any moment? I don't want to live that way. I don't want to live that way. You know what I mean? All your ambition, all your godlessness, it crossed your mind that there is a God and you pissed him off? Just it crosses my mind every day, especially these last five. Like, just because you think there's no God doesn't mean he's not there. And a lot of y'all gonna be screaming, it's not fair. And I'm just telling you, man, I'm not trying to be like that. For everything that I've ever done, if there's karma attached to it, there's wisdom attached to that karma. I deserved it. There's balance needed. I did too much. I need to give enough to make that make sense. And where there's imbalance, there's going to be people suffering. Where there's a lack of balance, there's going to be people who just don't have, who probably deserve. And when you consider that, that's why you keep yourself honest. That's why you stay out of stuff that you can't handle. That's why you keep your energy right and all that, because you don't want to be taking too much from one thing and leaving others with nothing. You take too much of anything and it's going to leave others with fewer. And that's just what I know. You engage in stress too much, next time you run into somebody else, you're not going to have the patience necessary. It's all different types of stuff as we talk about energy. So that's why I do these therapy sessions. I speak on this. I try to provide these lessons to myself in this thing and let the Lord share my voice with others and still value that just the same, even though I don't want to do too much in regards to value of that. I'm a flawed person. I make mistakes. I'm susceptible to temptation and evil and all different types of stuff as a human being. Just because I can speak with confidence does not mean that I got all the answers. And just because I'm forthright with my mistakes doesn't mean that all of my mistakes aren't shameful. It just is what it is. You got to live in your truth and love who you are. And in the process of hard times, you got to call on your God if you believe in him, and call on your friends and family if they're there for you and all of that. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who don't have any of those things, and they still got to deal with what you're dealing with. So for the sake of them and what it is they do not have, use what it is that you do. And that's what I want to share with people. And do not believe the middleman who tells you anything, especially if that thing is going to make you react emotionally. The first thing you need to think is, they want me to react. When I turn on the news, they want me to react. When I look into to the trolls' comments, they want me to react. They want to mold my mind and believe that there's something that there isn't. And as a result, I'm supposed to be the fool with egg on his face, while they get to copy and paste and do it again in a different subject. Enough. They don't mean us no good. They mean themselves good. That's it. You know how I look at the media? The same way I use the analogy many times. When you're drowning and someone's trying to save you and you use them as a buoy and end up drowning them to try to keep yourself up. That is what I think the media is doing. They are drowning in the presence of the infinite media. Social media is infinite. Your attention is taken everywhere but them. And they crave that attention. They crave being on top. They can't dip in numbers, so therefore they must continue doing what it takes to keep those numbers up. Media, sports, music industry, all of them. Whatever it takes to keep your attention, they're going to do that. And so that's why I'm at a point where I'm the anti that. I can see past that as it pertains to that era ends and substance remains. Substance before today, substance of today, and substance of tomorrow will age well. If it has wisdom attached to it, good energy, substance, things that can help people move and live longer and brighter and healthier lives, that stuff is going to last. Stuff that is meant to make $1 in a day is going to be caught in that day, like a time capsule. That's it. That is all. Just a copy and paste of the same culture that is around until somebody who's creative enough to give us something doper comes about and gives them a new canvas from which to copy and paste all of the damn culture from. Because that's all they're going to do. It's only a few creatives in the world. Everybody else is a great copy and paste person. So that is what it is, man. As far as I can tell, you just got to continue to live as best you can, knowing that this stuff is in place to keep you in line. And maybe it's great that you be in line, but you got to be cognizant of why you're in line. And know that some lines ain't meant for you to stay in. Some lines you need to get the hell out of so you can get in other lines that fit you. And the world ain't going to tell you that. They're going to keep yourself in line. However that line is structured, you in it. And so that's why I'm like, man, look, we just got to keep on working against some of this stuff. Keep on doing what we can. Keep God first, the God variable first in our hearts so that we don't allow ourselves to lose sight of all of these various different things that ultimately are meant to destroy our minds and keep us from being as balanced as ultimately possible. So that's what I'm here to say, man. That is what's on my mind. Obviously, no, it's not obvious. I forgot to tell y'all I ordered some groceries, so I'm checking those groceries, make sure they ain't showed up while I'm talking. It's been a long video as usual, but I just want to give y'all a therapy session, giving y'all an update on various things that we talked about that I wanted to come back and make right, especially that situation with that young man who protected his mom. You know what I mean? I'm sorry that so many people had to go through that in that situation, but the man who did what he did, punching that lady, I don't feel too much different than I did that day, man. I just feel bad for his children. I really do. As far as him, it's tough, man. It's really tough. I don't like celebrating a black man's death when I know my enemies are watching. So I'm not pleased that he passed. But I think that anybody puts their hands on a black woman, you better expect to be shot by her son. You better expect that. That's what I'll tell anybody. And look, in watching that video, she was telling her son to get in the car. And he was so caught up in his rage and in his moment and what it was he was fed up with and all that he was got going on his head, that he didn't realize that was the only hint he had at saving his life. That was the only hint he had at saving his own life. She was telling her son to get in the car, and he said, "Get in the car? Who?" That was the only chance. If he would have looked over and saw her son, he would have been able to save his life, because he would have known there was backup there. For whatever reason, it seemed to me he didn't even know she had a son. He thought he was in there swinging on somebody who was by herself. And it's like, it's whatever it was that didn't allow that information to come in, didn't allow him to question that properly, that negligence cost him his life, along with the rage and everything else that he was engaging in. But it was that moment where he misunderstood what she was saying. She was telling her son to get in the car. He thought she was telling him to get in the car. And I'm telling you, Him not knowing that son was there is why he's no longer with us today. On top of everything else he was doing. So what I'm telling you is rage will block out what will save your life. Rage will block out what will keep you from being enraged. That evil that makes you fed up, that sitting there waiting for something, whatever the case may be, that makes you snap the way that he snapped, and make it so that nothing comes in and all you want to do is put aggression out, that will make you the monster that other people have to put down. You got to meditate. You got to get into yourself, find out what it is that's there that would otherwise keep helpful energy out. Because if his mind was balanced, he would have said, who was it that you were trying to get in the car? And he would have looked at what she was looking at and realized it was a boy there. Realized. And if nothing else, maybe he would at least turn his man attention to the boy instead of trying to swing at the mother. And if that's the case, maybe it goes a little different, maybe it don't. But the point is, that man not realizing that she was telling her son to get in the car. That misunderstanding, that lack of letting stuff in, that not listening, that's what got him killed. So I just want to tell people in the moments like that, and that's what 39 years has taught me. In moments like that, you need to be heightened in regards to what it is you allow to come in. Because those are going to be the things that keep you out of the circumstances that are going to make that go worse than it needs to. I can tell you that right now. Every time I had something go left, it was because I wasn't cognizant, drunk, high, cognizant of the things I needed to be paying attention to keep it from going left. That's what I could tell you. Every bad fight I ever been in had to do with me being impaired and not being able to let certain things in. You know, it's the truth. It's a serious truth. It's not the chaos of those moments that ultimately made it bad for me. It was not listening, not taking in all there was to see, not realizing that was a person over there, that was a person over there. That type of stuff is the difference. So I just want to tell everybody, man, keep your eyes open, especially in pressured moments where the stress is high. Look around, let things in. What did you say? Make sure you heard it. Could be the difference. So that's what I got to say, man. That's the end of my therapy session. Hopefully I can be more productive today. I'd be lying if I said I felt like I had it all together today. I don't. But I feel a lot better than I did these last couple of days, and I'm looking forward to the Lord immobilizing me in a way that allows me to be productive, that allows me to be more of a blessing to myself and others. You know what I mean? And it allows me to get the hell out of here. You know, literally let this place go. It's been beautiful for me, but it's also been a great deal of stress for me living here over the last couple of years. And so I'm ready for this to end. I'm ready for it to end organically. I don't want to be ripped out of here. I don't want to have trauma handle it for me. I just want the Lord to immobilize within me what it is that needed to be there these last 5 days, that ultimately has been these last 3 weeks. And I'm well on my way. That's what I'm telling myself. I'm well on my way. Homegirl K hit me up as I was saying on my way. That's actually one of the things she says. You're on your way. That's what she always tells me. And she hit me up right now as I said that. So that's just reconfirmation that I'm on my way. How about that, right? Shout out to Kay. Shout out to you. I thank you all for watching BDF 44.